So today we will start with the overview of energy control center functions. So when we are talking about the energy control center, okay, so traditionally it is a decision center for electric transmission and generation, right? So the energy control center, it will just give or it will provide the functions of monitoring and coordinating. It is by minute-to-minute physical and economic operation of power system. So we have to make it efficient power system operation and control. So various control centers, and they have to be operated in a hierarchical manner. As this table one shows that level decomposition of control centers in a power systems. There are four types of control centers: first, second, third, and fourth. Okay, so four type of control centers are there. First is the local control center, right? And the other is the area load dispatch center, right? Third one is state load dispatch center, and the fourth one is a regional control center, right? So this table it shows the level decomposition of control centers. So level it is given first, second, third, and fourth level. Then we have a system, we have a generating station, we have substations, then sub-transmission and transmission network we have, then transmission system, then interconnected power system. So in precise, we can say that the level decomposition of power systems, it is having a four types of control centers. That is the local control center, area load control center or area load dispatch center, state load dispatch center, and regional control center. So we will just go through one by one. First, we are talking about this one, the local control center, right? So local control center, it's having generating station, substation, first level. So number of control functions are performed locally at the power stations and the substations, right? So a typical load local control center, it is having a load monitoring and control. It's having a protection. Circuit breaker is there to if fault occurs in a transmission line. So relay, it will send the signal to the circuit breaker and circuit breaker will trip off. Then we have voltage regulation. We have capacitor switching, feeder synchronization, load shedding, and network restoration and network reconfiguration system. And the other one, this one, area load dispatch center. So in this, we have generating stations, we have substation control are carried out. So it requires the system data or a network topology for control. Area control center, it receives the information and it processes for appropriate control actions, right? Then we have state load dispatch center, and in this center, all the information is received from the area load dispatch center and local centers. Then minute-to-minute operation of the power system state is to be carried out, and it comprises the following functions over there. That is the system generation and load monitoring and control for demand control. We have system-wide state monitoring and control. We have circuit breaker condition monitoring and control, load shedding and restoration, then supervisory control for transmission line and equipment. We have system LR monitoring and corrective actions, planning and monitoring of power system operation, right? Then we have the regional control centers. So when we are talking about the regional control centers, this regional control dispatch center, regarding it as a coordinating and monitoring center. Okay, for the state level load dispatch center, with covering main objectives, covers the system operation for state level dispatch center. Then we have the operation and maintenance schedules for maximum capacity utilization. We have operation and maintenance schedule for generating plants. We have monitor and control of interstate power transactions, then monitor and control of inter-regional power transactions. So whatever the components when we are talking about, so components uh, of energy control center. Okay, so energy management system is there. So the system control traditionally it is used for in electric utility operation, which consists of three main integrated subsystems. The EMS, that is the energy management system, supervisory control. We have data acquisition, that is SCADA, and the communication networks, the energy management system and SCADA. So here the figure one, this is provide a block diagram of modern energy systems, which comprises of initial load forecast and scheduling, SCADA, security assessments and analysis, and finally the optimal power flow constraint. So as it is shown over here, this, right, that is the energy management system, right? So it is interconnected over there as shown over here now. So energy economy function systems. So unit commitment will be there, load forecast. Okay. Then we have economic dispatch. Okay. So that economy interchange evaluation that comprises or it consists, it came in this energy economy function system. Then from here we have data acquisition processing system. SCADA is there, and it comprises a energy management system which is having a security monitoring control subsystems, external equivalence, preventive control. So this all comprises a energy management. So when we are talking about SCADA, so SCADA system, it is the supervisory control system. It normally consists of a computer system and a number of RTUs, that is remote terminal units are there, which is located in power stations and substations. So whatever the communication between the RTU, that is the remote terminal unit, and the computer, it usually take place via radio links or via power line carrier equipment. The computer serves the personal in control center by presenting the information about the current status of the power system, and then by passing on manually initiated control actions. So automatically the control will be there. Is used for different substation. Example, if we are taking a sequential control and control of network frequency, video display units and keyboards are normally used for man-machine communication, right? So that is the SCADA. So here it is shown. It's installed whenever where it is required. So major supervisory control systems, it generally consist of several energy control centers, which is incorporated in a hierarchical configuration that it is shown over here. Okay, that is a central processing unit. It is connected with a communication interface. RTUs are there. Simple SCADA system with a single computer is shown over there. Then we have the program input output equipment, right? Memory, auxiliary memory, central processing unit. So communication interface and display and control console. So SCADA, when we are talking, it's a supervisory control and data acquisition, and it comprises of two main parts, that is the supervisory control and the data acquisition, right? So when we are talking about the supervisory control, so it indicates the operator. It indicates that the operator which is residing in the general control center, it is having the ability to control the remote equipment. So supervisory control, as the name indicates, that operator which is residing in the energy control center is having the ability to control a remote equipment. For example, if we are taking a release that is located with the RTUs, remote terminals unit, on the command of ECC, that is Energy Control Center, it will open and close the selected control circuit, and it will perform a supervisory action. So such action may include, for example, opening or closing of circuit breaker, or switching, modifying the transformer tap setting, raising or lowering the generator megawatt output or the terminal voltage. So switching in on out of shunt capacitor or indicator, and the starting or topping of synchronous. Then we have synchronous control. We have the data acquisition. Okay, data acquisition, it indicates that the information, whatever the information is there, right, which is gathered by characterizing the state of removed terminal, and then it is sending to the ECC for monitoring process. For example, if we are gathering the information is gathered by RT, remote terminal unit, and it's communicated to ECC, that includes both analog and information and the status indicator. So analog information, if we are talking, so for example, frequency or voltage or current, real and reactive power, that is the information over there, and the stator indicator that includes the alarm signal, over temperature or over the relay battery, illegal entry. So, and whether switches and the circuit breaker are open or off. So such information is provided to the ECC through a periodic scan of all RTUs. So basic functions of when we are talking about supervisory control system. So basic function when we are talking supervisory and control system, it is firstly the simple arithmetic and logical operations will be there on this variables. Example, if we are taking the calculation of variables, example, calculation of apparent power, okay, P, Q, reactive power and all, active and reactive power, where P and Q are the telemetry values. Then the supervision of acquired and calculated variables with respect to the changes and violation in limits values. Then we have a storage of current variables and sequent use of interim daily reports, right? So these variables are presented in the form of one-line diagram or curves, right? So transmission of command to RTUs. Then system that is incorporating primarily these basic functions are traditionally called SCADA. That is a supervisory control and data acquisition system. Then the characteristic feature of this system, and they treat individual variable which correspond to transducers and actuators in the process. This means that the system doesn't need models of the power system. A SCADA system can consecutively be built up to large extent from standard software, where it is not dependent on the fact that the process being treated involves a power system. So then we have this, that is the SCADA. Then we have phasor measurement units and wide area measurement systems. How we are using that now. So phasor measurement unit, that is a PMU. It is a microprocessor based device, and which is having the ability to of a digital signal processors to measure 50 or 60 hertz AC waveforms, whatever the voltages and currents of a typical rate of 48 samples per second, or 24 by 2400 by 2880 samples per second. So the phasor measurement unit, it is used in the transmission side of the grid So these are installed at various places on the grid and time synchronizing using global positioning system, that is GPS, or whatever the synchronized real-time measurements are obtained from multiple measurement points on the grid. So this phasor measurement units, it will provide the power system automation to the grid. First, the analog AC waveforms are synchronized sampled by a analog to digital converter for each phase. So we have, in order to provide a synchronous clock for the entire system, the time for the global positioning system, satellites are used as the input for phasor block oscillators, and the waveforms from the entire system are sampled with the 1 microsecond accuracy. Then the next step, that is the phasor measurement unit. It uses the signal processing techniques to calculate the voltage and current phases. Also, line frequencies can be calculated by PMU at each phase. We are using in this technique to get a high degree of resolution and accuracy we have to achieve. So measured phasors are tagged by GPS, a time stamps, and then it is transmitted to the PDC, that is the phasor data concentrated, and at the rate of 30 to 60 samples per second, right? So when we are talking about this one is wide area measurement system, that is WAMS. Okay. So in wide area system measurement system, so general definition when we are talking about this one, that is a wide area measurement system. So this one wide area measurement system, it combines with the data that is provided by synchro phasor and conventional measurements with the capability of a new communication system. So in order to monitor or operate or control the protect the power system, whatever there in a wide geographical area. So it includes 3 different interconnected sub-process. Then data acquisition is there, then the data transmitting and data processing will be there. So measurement system and communication system, when both are together with energy management system, it will perform these sub-processes. Generally, that wide area measurement system, it acquires the system data and it acquires from the conventional and new data resources, and then it is transmitting it to the communication system, to the control center, and then it is processed over, right? Then we have state estimation, right? So state estimation, when we are talking about, it is a program there. So state estimator is a program that received the SCADA measurement information, whatever the SCADA information is there, and then it is uses as a statistical procedures to obtain the very best estimate of the actual state of the system. So the result of the state estimation is the power flow model that can be used for security assessment. So when we are talking about state estimation, state estimator, this one. So it is a program that program it will receive the data SCADA measurement information, and when it is receiving, then it is using as a statistical procedures and to obtain the best estimate of the actual state of the system, and this result, the state estimation, is the power flow model that can be used for security assessment. So whatever the importance or the need of a state estimation, so for a given topology of the system, it still remains to determine the operating conditions, that is the bus voltage, load levels, generation levels. So at first glance, when we are seeing it, it appears to be an easy problem, but just take the corresponding information from the SCADA. However, one must recognize the reality of data unavailability in the data error. So data and unavailability, when we are talking about, it comes from the two sources. First, there may be substation that have no SCADA, and then some substations, uh, remote terminal unit or telemetry systems that are unavailable due to maintenance or unexpected trouble. So data error comes, and it comes from the analog measurement devices that contain the measurement error. So typically this error is small for any single device, but it can be used many thousands of devices, each having small error, and can result in significant inaccuracy in regards to overall system analysis. So some features of state estimation. So state estimation, it runs every 15 minutes or on request for the major system changes. Most important aspect of the state estimation is bad data identification. So bad data detection is based on the performance index. The measurement set, it consists of a real and the reactive power flows. So real and reactive power injections and the bus voltage will be there. So this data is available to the companies whose lines is represented by state estimation model. So this alone be a worthwhile justification for including the state estimation in a single control center. State estimation is for security monitoring and for security analysis of the power system. The state results, the results of state estimations are used for security monitoring of the operator that is informed of overloads and critical conditions. So state estimation results, it is stored for in a historical file for a period of 7 days. Okay. Then we have power security system. So first of all, we know what is power security system. So when we are talking about the power system, it needs to be secure. It should be protected from blackout or internal or external damage. So power system operation of power system is set as a normal only when the power flow of power and the bus voltage are within certain limits for a profitable change in the load or the generation side. So for this we use the security of power system, which is an important aspect with respect to the continuation of the operation. Then we have security. Two functions of security. First, security functions are of two types. First is the security control, then security assessment. So when we are talking about the security control, it determines the exact and the proper security constraint, that is scheduling with the which is required to obtain the maximum security level. Then we have security assessment, and it will just give the security level of the system in the operating state. So tomorrow we will discuss about topic that is system security assessment, alert, emergency, okay, states, SMS states and the power system. Right. So tomorrow we will just go through this one. Thank you.